Hello and welcome to this webinar from TOR Systems. My name is Daniel Jordan and I'm the Managing Director. Our topic today is managing visitor flow and maximising revenue post-COVID. So hopefully I'll be able to show you how venues can not only manage the visitors and make sure they're maintaining social distance, but also maximise your revenue at a time where you're really feeling the pinch financially. So first of all, let's have a look. Why did people buy tickets online before COVID occurred? Really, there were three main drivers for this. The first one is that you may be offering guaranteed entry only if you book in advance. So it's the only way you're absolutely guaranteed entry. The second reason is that you may offer a reduced price, an obvious incentive to the customer to reduce the price for those people booking in advance compared to paying on the day. And the third reason is you may offer a fast track. So if the customer doesn't want to queue, they can buy online and they skip that queue. Gives them another benefit to purchasing in advance. But now everything has changed. Why must you really book online since we're in the COVID pandemic? The key element here really is guaranteed entry. We have to restrict how many people can visit our venue, and to be guaranteed entry, you're going to have to book online. So there really is no choice. Secondly, we need to maintain social distancing in the venue. Because of this, we need to ensure we have the right number of people at any one time so that we can maintain the distance between them. Thirdly, for track and trace purposes, we need to ensure that we are recording the booker's details and that we have those in the system for 21 days, just in case we have to contact customers regarding COVID. We're going to look into the detail of the different features of an online booking system to see how it can benefit your venue in a few moments. But first, a brief overview of our Maxim web system. Firstly, this is a completely off-the-shelf product. It's proven and reliable across our customer base and includes free upgrades. It's a configurable system, but importantly, it's configurable by you, the customer, so that you can respond quickly to changes within your business. And thirdly, it's API driven, which means that if you want to, you can put on a customizable front-end view to the database. Talking about that database, there is just one, and it's real time for all sales channels. This is critical because you need to make sure that your bookings are coming in all to the same place. You've got one single quota, if you like, for each time slot that you're selling for, and all of the sales channels are using that particular quota. And finally, it needs to be responsive. Most of us are now booking on the go. We're using our mobile phones. We need a system that's totally responsive so that we can go through the booking process without any problems. So let's move on now to looking at those features which will benefit your venue. First of all, there are a number of features that speed up the customer journey. If we look at this customer, this is the British Airways i360 we've been working with since 2015. You can see that they offer a list of different events to the customer. And you can clearly see on their site, we're given a description of what's included, and you can also see that the customer is given a saving if they purchase online in advance, rather than walking up. If we choose one of these events and click to book online, we jump straight into the calendar page for this event. Here is the event within this venue, so it's a deep link straight into the system. The booking is much more streamlined with less clicks, and you can easily follow the journey. It's a simple step-by-step journey through the transaction, speeding it up for the customer. Another way to improve speed is to offer PayPal. So this is the Imperial War Museum, and they have decided to take on PayPal as a payment engine to speed up the booking process. You can see we've already selected our tickets. We've got our price and everything in the basket. We can offer to pay by debit or credit card, but we can also choose to pay by PayPal. This obviously makes things quicker for the end consumer. I can just log in, it will fill in all of my details, my name, address, my card details are hidden away and don't have to be re-entered. It speeds up the transaction and it offers greater security for me as a customer. During COVID, the data which is recorded is essential to a visitor attraction. During the booking process, the system's already recorded the customer's date and time of visit, and now on the client details page, they can record all of their personal details. This particular page is for the British Museum, who we've been working with since 2002. You can see on the page that the client has put in some of their details, their name and address details, and so on. This can be backed up by postcode search and also by PayPal, which ensure accurate data entry. As we go down the screen, you can see further details, the client's phone number, email address, and so on for track and trace purposes. This information is obviously only kept for a limited time period as required. Behind these pages as well, there is Google Tag Manager, which allows the attraction to track the customer's journey throughout the booking process, including dropouts and so on. As venues reopen, they must ensure that the visitor flow protects their customers and their staff. The use of cloud technologies and simple customer booking is key to filling attractions to their new restricted capacities. In this example here, the Royal Pavilion and Museums in Brighton, they're utilising a number of Maxim web features to control capacity. First one of these is this element here, party size. The idea is that we can type in how many people are in our group, let's say 3 for example, and the calendar below will then update to show the days when 3 people can be accommodated, hence saving a lot of time for the customer, whereby in other systems they can sometimes go all the way through the booking process to be told at the end, sorry, we don't have the space. This system tells you at the very beginning. So first of all, they select the party size. That then shows them the dates that are available. They can select a date. That will then show them the times where 3 people can be accommodated. And they can then select one of these times and then proceed through the booking process. As well as those controls I've just shown, the system also allows you to restrict by a total party size. So you can say, for example, in the UK, there is a restriction at the moment for 6 people. So you could restrict the party size to a maximum of 6. And you can also put in replace ratios between different categories of tickets. So for example, you may decide that you could only have up to 3 children with each adult. So these are the kind of controls that are in place in the Maxim web system to control capacity. We're now going to look at maximising revenue. The biggest issue that venues face is that reduced visitor capacity potentially means reduced income. Okay, but what actually is happening here? Yes, there are less visitors coming in, but we also know that online bookings increase secondary spend. We knew this before COVID. People who book online have already parted with their money for the visit. When they attend on site, particularly if it's a long distance away in time, have another amount of money ready to spend with you. So the more that we can push people to book online, the more we know that we're going to increase the secondary spend. With COVID, we've also got massively increased online traffic. The vast majority of our customers are now booking online. So that means that we can ensure that those people who book online are booking well in advance, increasing the secondary spend when they attend on the day. So what else can we do to maximise revenue? If we look at this example of the British Airways i360, you can see that not only are they offering their standard product, which is the flight ticket, but they also offer packages such as this sparkling wine experience, where you get a combination of flight plus a glass of sparkling wine. And many customers are very keen to take up this offer. You can also see below that they're offering pricing for online and pricing for walk-up. And we can take this one step further with Maxim Web because it supports variable pricing. So we could be offering customers who book further in advance a better rate. This is great news because the further ahead that somebody books, the more money they're likely to spend on site when they actually visit. What else could we do? If we look down a page on this example, you can see we're offering gift vouchers. Maxim Web provides not only the booking of the gift voucher, but also the redemption. By being able to purchase and redeem gift vouchers online, the British Airways i360 is able to increase revenue whilst keeping associated costs low. Another thing that we can do to increase revenue, if we look at this example of the National Memorial Arboretum, we're at the point now where we've selected our tickets. When we click next, we have an upsell box appear. And this box is trying to encourage us to donate. So it's making it clear that the Arboretum is free entry, but as a charity, there are liabilities to donations. So we're asking customers to help support the attraction. And this is a very good way of maximising revenue. We've seen several ways to maximise revenue using the system. However, I'd go further and say that now that COVID has forced people to book online, there really is less reason to offer discounts for booking in advance. You could even take this a stage further and say that you could actually increase your costs for certain products or benefits, not your normal tickets, but you could offer other benefits and charge more money for them, and people will be happy to pay that. To complete our look at maximising revenue via online booking, we have a case study from a UK visitor attraction. The first thing to note is the increase in sales volume. From June 2019 to June 2020, there was a massive 1,500% increase in online sales volume. That's 15 times what it was previously. So people are obviously having to book online because they want to ensure that they can visit. Secondly, this attraction used our upsell feature to suggest to the customer that they make an online donation. And that revenue provided £50,000 in just 3 months alone. Excellent way of creating additional revenue at a time when money is tight. Finally, the customer also noticed a greatly increased secondary spend on site. Customers are having to book their visit further in advance, therefore by the time they come to visit, they've kind of forgotten about that money that was spent on the initial visit, and they're now able to spend more money on site. We're now going to look at the systems that are used within the venue by team members. Now, before COVID, if you had a system which wasn't based on a cloud solution, you've got a number of problems really. First of all, you're restricted to working on premise. You can't work from home, you can't work remotely. The second issue really is that you're restricted to fixed location PCs. You're not very flexible, you can't move around, you can't use other devices. And thirdly, a biggest problem as well is that the upgrades require resource from your IT team. So let's look at this another way. We're now during the COVID pandemic, but we have got a cloud solution. What benefits does this give us? First of all, key one for all of our customers during this time is being able to work from home and to work remotely. No longer tied to the premises, which you don't want to travel to at the moment. Secondly, allows you to provide refunds and create new bookings. So many of our customers had to refund customers during the pandemic when they had to close, but now that they're reopening or reopened, they've put in new bookings from home, from remote locations. Thirdly, you're able to interrogate data. You can look at the reporting system, the CRM side, and you can do that from any location. The fourth benefit when you are back on premise is that you can provide roaming ticketing. You're not fixed to a desk anymore, you're not fixed to a PC. You can move around the attraction, around the venue, and provide roaming ticketing. Another benefit is that the system is fully responsive and will work on any device. So you're not restricted to a PC or a laptop. You can be on an iPad or any other device like that. The system is also hosted, which means you've got less IT resource. You haven't got things to worry about like servers and networks. You just have the system provided by TOR. Finally, another benefit of the cloud solution is that the upgrades are very simple and straightforward, and again, don't require IT resource. This means that you can get all the new features much quicker than you used to be able to. Visitor flow is critical during social distancing restrictions. Our check-in system ensures that visitor numbers are at the correct level by both time and location. The system allows you to scan both e-tickets or membership cards. It can also be performed by the customer rather than your staff members to protect them. And finally, it restricts access not only by time but also by location. When a successful scan goes through, it lights the screen up green and makes an audible sound to the customer. During COVID, you need a system that gives you the maximum information to ensure safety. Maxim gives the team member details about existing bookings, availability and full details to the customer. On the main Maxim sales screen here, we can see the day note section in the middle. This is completely configurable by you and can be defined by date and by till number. What you also get in Maxim at the bottom is you get a view of the business and the availability. So for today's date, you get a view of exactly what events are on and what time slots are available. These time slots change colour, so the green ones are fully available, going through to this red colour where it's totally sold out. So they give each team member a good view of what's going on during the day. We can go in further if we want to, click on the time slot and bring up the bookings. We can see a register of the people who are booked in at that particular time. As well as the day view, if we wish, we can choose one of the events on the left-hand side and be shown a month view of availability. So that will show us clearly here that the 21st, 22nd and 23rd have more limited availability than the other days of the month. If we go through the booking process, let's go on to the next page here, we can choose the different type of tickets we want to buy, and this is effectively giving us a party size. So we're choosing here 3 tickets for the private group here. If we go forward in the process, we're then asked to allocate those 3 tickets to a particular time. So I'll choose the 2 o'clock time, but we can clearly see again which time slots are free, which time slots are busy. Put our tickets in and we can move forward with the booking. So we're seeing exactly the same as we saw on the web, where we are restricting by date and by time. We also have the option to select a client, and we can search for a client as well. If we bring up the client details here for Reese, we can see details of him for track and trace purposes. Depending on how you define the system will depend whether the fields such as telephone number, mobile number, email and so on are recorded. They would normally be set to be compulsory for this kind of process. We also have a diary search function within the system. So if I go back to the start here, we have a search where we can put in our party size again and say we're looking again, let's say 5 people. We can select our event, let's say the private group, and we can define that from now, let's say for the next month. And can you show us what dates are available to fit that group in? Excellent if you've got a very busy event that you need to find space within. In changing times, it's important that the system is also flexible so that team members can change bookings easily. We have a look at this transaction here. Let's bring up the booking register. We can recall this booking and modify things about it. So we may want to add or remove tickets. So we've got 3 adult tickets here. Let's reduce that by 1. We can also go then to the next step, which is the time slot allocation. We've got those 2 tickets now in the 2 o'clock time, but we could move them to 3 o'clock, for example. So just having that simple kind of flexibility to be able to move people around if their circumstances change, or indeed if yours do. Perhaps time has become more full than you expected, perhaps the flow of visitors isn't as quick as you'd like and you want to move customers around. You can also, on the system, perform refunds so that you can give people money back if either their needs change or, again, if yours do. In terms of maximising revenue, the on-site system has the same great features as the online system. You can sell packages, price variably so that you're selling further in advance, provide gift voucher sales and redemptions, upselling, as well as donations. One other benefit that you can provide on-site is that you can switch your prices based on demand on the day, very quickly, very simply. Being able to report on customer visits is now even more important than it was before. The Maxim system incorporates a powerful report builder that assists with track and trace and bulk refunds, as well as bespoke report creation. So if we have a look here at the ticket sales report, which is just one of a number of different reports that are available from the system, we can see some data just for today, and if we wanted to, we could look at different time periods. We could put our own calendar dates in. This is the data below. You can see that it's sorted first of all on visit date, then on event, then on tickets. And if we click any of these little 3 dot sections here, we can actually go in and define exactly what columns we want to see in the report. So these are the columns that we've got showing at the moment, but let's say, for example, we're not so interested in the values for the process at the moment because we want to look at track and trace. We want some more customer details in here, so let's have the client name in there. Let's have the email address. Let's see if they allow us to email them. Let's get this kind of information in the report behind, so we can see that in there now. We can then add filters, so we could, for example, if we wanted to, filter on the events here. So we could look at the events, we can search in the events, so we could search for example, membership event and filter on just that event. We could filter on, for example, the unit price, so we could say that we're looking for items that are greater than a certain amount or less than a certain amount. We can obviously search on the data protection fields here, so we could say that we only want to show items where we have a yes recorded, and that would then filter down our data. So there's a number of different filters. You can filter on any of these columns here. You can clear the filters up here as well. So it's a great way of filtering out your data, getting exactly what you need out of the system. And what you can also do here is you can export these reports, as you'd expect. You can also save these reports, so you can save this as a bespoke report. You give it a name here, you say whether it's a public report or it's just for you, and it then puts those reports into the custom reports or public custom report sections below. So you can create a completely bespoke report and then save it away for future use. Excellent for track and trace, but also for bulk refunds or any other reason that you want to get data out of the system. To conclude this section, we shall look in more detail at one of our customers. At the beginning of the pandemic lockdown, unfortunately for them, they had an on-premise system. So we upgraded them to our cloud solution, which allowed them to work from home. At that time, they had a number of large events which they needed to refund. So the cancellation of the event was much easier through the cloud solution. They've now decided that they're not going to replace their PCs anymore and they're going to buy laptops instead. So they're looking further forward to working from home or working remotely. Now that they've reopened, they can continue to take bookings for these new events, and that's going really well, and also dealing with customers' queries. In conclusion, any systems that you use should be simple and flexible. You want to make it as easy as possible for your customers to transact with you. We've seen how Maxim can help you create additional revenue through upselling, donations, and variable pricing, for example. We've also seen that Maxim can help protect both the public and your team by scanning tickets themselves, and also by track and trace within the system. And finally, I'd say that to implement cloud solutions is really, really important to your business, not just during COVID, but to future-proof your ticketing.